And blessings. Oh my goodness, it feels absolutely terrific to connect with you once again. So much is going on in the world, but even more is going on in our lives. What's really interesting to see and hear is how so many of your lives have evolved and just taken on new dimensions over the past 4 to 5 years, and how many goals have been achieved, businesses have been built, new marriages, some divorce, babies being birthed, relocations to new states and countries. And like a proud mother, I'm proud of all the new growth going on in your lives. As they say on Avatar, I see you. One thing we know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that nothing in this world stops. Life does not stop for a single man or woman. The world will not stop rotating on its axis in spite of our lives and the events, in the world. It just won't. No matter what, Earth is still going to continue to rotate on its axis, and the sun is going to continue to rise every morning and set every evening. So, that being said, I'm not accepting any new mentees. So, if you're part of this small, intimate, private group, consider yourself blessed. I'm choosing to focus more of my energies going forward on my craft, my writing business, as well as, some of my other endeavors and things I have going on, and giving back to the community at large, as well as giving back to some of you more pronounced in a bigger way, focusing on contributing at a higher level, at my highest level, challenging myself to do that. And so in doing that, I'm focusing more on quality than quantity. I'd rather have a little bit of something just magical and awesome and wonderful and great than a whole lot of average, mediocre, blase type of thing. I've had a few mastermind meetups. Some of you, we've gotten together for lunch and dinner, and it has been awesome, by the way. Rock star voice, awesome! And so anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about hashtag HustleZone30 for a few minutes. First things first, I want to go over a few of the concepts and just clarify a few things. For instance, when we say touch 9, introduce yourself, and pass out your business card or flyer to 9 people, understand this can include meeting new people online. I would rather you stretch yourself and come face to face with people, because you have to be comfortable with that. I know, even myself included, I'm really good operating from behind the scenes, but when I'm challenged to actually, talk to people, talk to leaders, talk to influential people, and just communicating some of the things I have going on face to face with people, sometimes that can be a challenge. So this, for people who that is a challenge for, this will be somewhat of it's going to be a test for you. So I don't care, though, if you introduce yourself to people online. I don't care if it's a chat line. I don't care if it's Snapchat. I don't care if you're introducing yourself to people at a bar. God damn it, just introduce yourself. The whole point of this, the main idea of this challenge, is to challenge you to get comfortable talking about your business. Make no mistake, I did not say talking about yourself. Those are two different things. But talking about your business, about your calling, your purpose, your craft. Half the battle is getting your name and face out there. The reason you're not balling on the level you'd like to be balling on, and possibly the reason you're not able to do some of the things you want to do more often, like, say, traveling the world or being financially free to if you just want to stay at home and pot plants. But you're not able to do this because you're not able to bring your dream to fruition, and you're not taking off at the level you'd like to take off because you're still in obscurity. No one knows your name or face. And if no one knows you exist, they cannot support you. If people are not talking about you and your products and services, the things that you do, what you're contributing to all of us, then they cannot support you. You can be an amazing artist. You can be an amazing, amazing inventor. You can be an amazing, amazing tailor. I don't care what it is that you're wonderful at. If you're not getting out there and putting your work out in the world and sowing the seeds and showing the world what you came here to do, then they can't support you financially or otherwise. So that's what the point of this is, to get out and talk about what you do. Talk about it to anybody and everybody. Don't be a jerk about it. You don't want to be, just annoying, because there is a thin line between you're just hungry and persistent and you're just fucking getting on people's nerves. So don't cross that line. But also, when we say post your flyers or your business cards, this can be at your local coffee house. It could be at the strip club. It could be in the lobby at the doctor's office. It doesn't matter. But post your information. If you don't have business cards, or you don't want to do business cards, do postcards. And you can get people to make beautiful, wonderful postcards on Etsy, these graphic designers and things of that nature. If you don't have the creative net to do it, you can hire somebody to do it. It's so many online resources where they will basically generate the graphics for you. You tell them what you want, and some of them free. But the main thing is you need to have some type of marketing material for what it is that you do and who you are, because you have to get your message out there as much as possible. And it's a reason why we're starting. This is just a sidebar. A reason why we decided to start it for spring is because we're moving into a new season. We're moving into a new season. And when you move into new season, especially spring, it's a time of growth. It's a time of germination. It's a time when embryos are coming out of their shell, when when the jacket of the seed is broken and the actual blossom comes up out of the soil. It represents new growth. It represents something being born. I'm not going to get all deep off into the metaphysics of it, and the way the sun and how we're rotating around in the universe. But the bottom line, just keep in mind, it's for a reason at this time. So, also, I was saying about posting, I want you to keep in mind, at the end of these 30 days, I'm going to go on Google and Bing and ask, and I am going to be doing searches on you all. I'm going to be Googling your names and your businesses and your blogs and your books and your music, your photography, your agencies, your stores, etc., etc., etc. And if I'm not inundated with endless amounts of information and marketing and branding, then you failed the whole point of this challenge. Okay, we have all types of different challenges that we put ourselves up to, but this one is for getting your business, your craft, your purpose. Why did you show up to this world? It could not just be to pay bills and go to your job every day and get stuck in traffic and raise the kids and be a wife or be a husband or have a bae. No, you came here for something, for us, for the world. So this is what this is about. The more you post and pass out your marketing material, your postcards, your business cards, your flyers, the more you do it in your local community, the more you're getting known locally. And you need to be doing this inside and outside of your zip code. But also, when you posting things on blogs or guest blogs or just posting shit on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, WordPress, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, getting your message out to the world, now you're getting your name, your face, your business out there globally, internationally, which is far more productive, far more fruitful. I'll tell you why. Because once it's posted online, number one, it's there forever. And number 2, you're building your SEO, search engine optimization. And number 3, people who are thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away from you can find out who you are. There are people who know about me in Bosnia, Germany, London, Italy, Brazil, because of things I've posted online. So you have to kind of do both. You don't want to be all international and no one knows about you locally, especially if you have a local business that requires you to have local clients and local supporters. You want to do both. Some tips on clean eating. You don't have to go 100% vegan, raw vegan, or even vegetarian for that matter. I'm not even advocating, change your whole lifestyle of how you eat. But, for instance, if you're paleo, be paleo. Just make sure you're eating at least 5 to 7 servings of fruit every day. That could be, 3 apples, a banana, and a peach. Okay? Massive amounts of vegetables and plenty of water. If you're gluten-free, be gluten-free. Just be sure you're eating real organically grown fruits, vegetables, and grains, not processed foods. Okay? More fruits and vegetables does not mean Pop-Tarts and, cheese pizza and fruit chews. That's not, stuff. We're talking about things that grow out of the ground that have chlorophyll and water-rich nutrients in them. Some things you want to avoid are like white sugar, you get the point, white flour, white bread, and soda. Those are some of the things that can just drain and literally leach nutrients, vitamins, and minerals out of your bones and your blood. So you want to kind of just avoid those for a while. And if you're drinking the amount of water your body requires, you shouldn't even crave processed food, which is categorically and chemically a drug. Processed food is categorically and chemically drugs. That's another conversation. A word on exercise. You don't have to run marathons and live in the gym like Kai Green, or just move your body daily. It doesn't matter if you're doing yoga, walking around during your lunch hour, hiking through the forest, or just playing with someone's kids. Just move your body daily. Remember, it's called a challenge for a reason. It should challenge you. I mean, for some of us, I think for some people, you're already doing Hustle Zone 30 on a daily basis, maybe in your career, but you're completely letting go. Your body is just, going to shit. I mean, we're all guilty of letting some aspect of our life go. Or you may be in the gym and taking great care of your body. You don't have a problem with that. You have that down pat. But you can't get your business out of a paper bag to save your life. So this is to help you with that. That's why it's called a challenge. And it's all good. The hustling log is totally important. Why? Because what we track, we can measure. What we track, we can measure. And what is measured can be changed. Let me say that again. What we track, we can measure, and what is measured can be changed. If you don't know how much work you did 2 years ago, you really don't know if you're doing more or less today. There's a concept that Warren Buffett talks about, horsepower and output. Horsepower and output, okay? I don't care how much horsepower is under the hood. I don't care what you're capable of, but what are you doing? What are you producing? What are you giving the world? Okay? So engage your total being into this. Challenge yourself. Enlist your family. Enlist your friends. Enlist your coworkers. Enlist your fuck buddy. Be the fucking change, because this is going to grow you in immeasurable ways. But ultimately, no matter what you do or how hard you decide to press in and lean in on this, you're going to see some growth. If you just do the bare minimum, you're going to see bare minimal growth. If you go like all the way in, you're going to see all the way in results. You may not see them today. You may not even see them at the end of this 30-day challenge, but you are going to see growth. I promise you that. Hustle music. This is an open call for you music producers and artists who know artists who produce music to create some hustle playlists. Share them with me so I can share them with the world, so I can help amplify and bullhorn your shit. Like, we need more hustle music. I mean, and you know what I mean by that. Something you can put on when you go to the gym, or something I can put on my iPod when I'm working out or going for a walk to just kind of get you amped up, before you going to do some work and you just like, hustle music. You know what I'm talking about. So while you're doing this challenge, I challenge you to just be prolific in your calling. Be prolific in your craft. What does prolific mean? Producing much. Be like trees, producing more than you consume. We all have the time to do it. Think of Bach. Think of Mozart. These people who created music hundreds of years ago, and it's still lasting, and they created prolific amounts of scores and music. Think of Pablo Picasso, one of the most prolific artists of our era to ever exist, to ever walk the planet, painting motherfucking pictures, and he will go down in history forever. Not because his shit was the best and the brightest and the most beautiful. I'm sure there were more talented artists than Pablo Picasso, but their output couldn't measure his. And they're not going down in history the way he did, because the more you put out, whether you're a writer or an artist or a singer or a photographer or an accountant, the more work you produce, the more of your gift and your calling that you give to the world, eventually you're going to get better and better and better and master that. And also more people, you're going to be reaching more people because you're putting out more stuff. If you only put out, think about someone who puts out 2 really great albums versus someone who puts out 60 albums. Well, just by virtue of them putting out more albums, they're getting better. They're getting better in the studio. Their art is getting better. They're learning, tips and tricks for their voice. They're touring. They're doing different things. More people are finding out about them because someone who loves them, they're going to support each and everything, and they're going to tell people. You're creating raving fans. It creates a domino effect. So I challenge you to be prolific, producing much. How are prolific artists different? Think about that for a minute. How are prolific artists different? Whether it's, and you can be a marketing director. You can have your own marketing agency, your own PR firm, and still be an artist. That'll sink in later. But prolific people, they tend to be firmly settled in their creative identities. They don't question who they are. There's no doubt in their mind who they are. A prolific writer doesn't say, well, I work at this corporate job, but I write on the side. No, they say, I am a writer who happens to have a desk job on the side. Really? Seriously. I'm a writer with a desk job. Or I am an MC or producer or photographer who I happen to work for this company, on the side. All right? It's important to think like that, to know who you are and be comfortable in who you are and what you do. It's okay. Some people say, well, you're not who you do. You're not what you do. Well, in a lot of ways you are. In a lot of ways you are. In a lot of ways, yes, you are. And that's okay. Prolific people operate from a bedrock of stability, despite all the stereotypical images and, all this mercurial, whimsical, artsy, flowy, broke, starving artists. Fuck that shit. Some of the most highly prolific people, they they pin down a lot of variables in their lives. They're not constantly rearranging the logistics and reconfiguring their life situations. And no, they just produce. And so as a result of that, they bring their full attention to bear upon the creation process. And some people, for the most part, your most prolific people, a lot of times people will say, well, they're weird. They're weird, they're strange, they're out there. The greatest of the greats who've gone down in history, they've all been called that. Because they don't think like regular people who don't do shit or who waste their time and squander the time that they could be giving the world all of themselves. Prolific people, they get adopted early by mentors. They find people who will help them be better at what they want to do. And the earlier you do that, the better. And a lot of people have just figured that out. Whether it's a coach, you take someone like Tiger Woods, who his father was working with him since the age of like 3 or 4. Or you take someone like Venus and Serena Williams, who their father was working with them as early as 7 and 8 years old. So by the time they're 25, they've put in more than 10,000 hours. They've mastered this shit. So somebody coming in the game at 30, you can't even really compete with them because they've been mentored to the tilt. So they're great. But they're not great because of their mentors. They're better. They were already great just because of the hard work they put in. But the mentors kind of helped them. Prolific people, they just get an earlier start because they're doing the shit they love. They've developed this habit of just producing. I write for fun. Like what a lot of people consider homework, that's just really fun to me. And so I just do it in spare time, whether I'm busy, I just do it, whether I have time for it or not. And prolific people are well adjusted, believe it or not. Despite what the world thinks, prolific people tend to be a little sensitive, but they're confident. They are confident. The best of the best, whether it's in sports or business or art, they're very confident because they're doing what they love and they don't really give a shit what you think about what they're doing. A lot of times they are their biggest critics. And they probably beat themselves up a lot worse than anything the world can do to them, and they're just willing to put in the work. You look at serial entrepreneurs. You look at people like Elon Musk, who started 3 or so companies during the time that most people are complaining about their shitty ass job. Well, what are you going to do about it? The time that you're spending from the time you get home from work to the time you wake up in the morning, you could be creating and building and growing and doing your craft at the highest of levels. But most people will hang out and they got to go eat and, they want to just chill and surf the web and look at dancing cats and dancing at the stars and, focus on other people's shit, people who are shining. You're watching other people run around the field who are great at their craft. So it's just, when you think about all that time that you're just kind of wasting, you could be doing a lot with that. Prolific people just have a habit that's ingrained in their personality. So they're producing just for fun, or they're producing just because they love doing this. When they're angry, they're producing. When they're sad, they're producing. When they're happy, they're producing. When they fall in love, they're producing. When they're bored, they're producing. Their habit is just part of really who they are. So I challenge you to be prolific. Whether you're going to get paid for this or not, put in the work, put in the time, put in the energy, put in the effort. I promise it's going to pay off. There's this concept. I'm gonna leave you with this, and then I'll let you go about your day. But there's this concept of who makes the cups. When I was about 14 or 15 years old, an older gentleman who was like a mentor in my life for a brief amount of time, he sat down with me and he said, he was drinking some tea, and he said, who made this cup? And I'm like, I don't know. Who cares? What does it matter? I mean, who makes this cup. Who makes the cups you drink out of? But the concept speaks to means of production. Means of production. Who makes the clothes you wear? Who delivers your goods and products that you depend on daily? The food you eat. The who grows that food and gets it to the grocer. The electronics you depend on, the technology that you depend on, your furniture, all these things. Who makes the cups? Because when you find out behind the scenes, behind the sales and marketing and all of this stuff, who manufactures and creates these things, I challenge you to start to think on that level. Because when you start creating and manufacturing things that people need, and you learn how to get to that level where you're producing it and you need very, very few middlemen, you've created something and you've established something that will forever and ever build wealth for you. Put money in the bank for you. For not only you, but for your children and your children's 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 children. And if you don't have children, for your family, for your friends to just give to the world. So I'm going to leave you with that concept. Who makes the cups? Think about time and using it more wisely. Let's go for this Hustle Zone 30, hashtag Hustle Zone 30 everywhere. Lace the internet. Remember, at the end of this 30 days, I'm going to Google everybody. I want to see some presence. I want to see you out there making moves and shaking things up and disturbing the model, disturb the peace that's out there. All right. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful one.